What is up, guys? I hope you are well on this fine day, and today we are taking a look at more Entitled Parents. If you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe button, and maybe even the notification bell. Let's get into this. Mum tries to kick me off my own school job for something I can't help. I have a job at my school where I do tuck shop, a place where kids can go to buy bagels, pizza, chocolate, sweets. And I am a kid and I sell stuff. On one random day we had no pizzas or chocolate or sweets, so we just sold bagels. There's this one kid who always comes to the tuck shop with his mum. Plus they're always the last to come to the tuck shop. They always get chocolate, so it's the first time we didn't have any. Oh crap. She yelled at me and my friend for apparently hiding the chocolate. Sorry mum, we don't have any chocolate today. Would you like anything else? Give the box of chocolates you're hiding down there. We can't do that for you. We'll have some tomorrow. Now! I was not expecting that. As the look of confusion spread across my friend's face, I think they thought the same too. This insanely crazy woman climbs over the counter. Keep in mind a 6-year-old is behind her crying and rummages through the bloody boxes, not succeeding with finding the chocolate. Luckily the headmaster walked past and saw what was happening. The woman knew she screwed up. She climbed over the counter, grabbed her wailing kid's hand and noped the crap out of there. I was dragged away from a spelling test that day after by the headmaster. I followed into his office where my friend and the 6-year-old is hiding behind the crazy woman's coat, and of course the headmaster. The woman denied anything that the headmaster asked. Did you yell at the kids? She says no. Did you accuse them wrongly of lying? She says no. I was sitting next to the woman and her voice was getting all squeaky, her hands were shaking, but then the headmaster snapped at the woman for lying and showed her the CCTV and of everything she did. The headmaster had a right go at the hag for lying and threatened to get the cops called for child harassment. After that, I never saw her again. Edit, I forgot to say, the woman threatened to get the headmaster called on me. She got her own back. Don't know what that last bit is, but I remember tuck shops at school. They were pretty decent places and they were always like fully stocked. But I can't ever remember like a parent going to one of these places. And how desperate do you have to be for some chocolate to literally dive over the counter? God damn. I know my son is on the other team, but why did you shoot him? This is low key, but the thought process still confuses me. So back a few years ago, me and some friends would go to the local paintball airsoft field to get outside, chill out and shoot some stuff. I had finally saved up for a new rifle, because while my old one was still functional, it was about 5 years old and winding down, so I kept it as a backup. Now that the stage is set, we can move on. Post-match, me and my group were sitting in the trunk of my buddy's truck. Wasn't exactly going to let it out of my sight. A word about the gun is that it has a pretty distinct look. It was a model EBR. Most other guns I saw in the field that day were model M4s or AKs, so it made it pretty easy to spot. I also had a distinct hat. Those couple of factors made me easy to pick out the crowd by angry mum. Unlike a lot of stories I read here, she did not look like the I want to see the manager type. She looked like a regular mum who was a bit upset. I must have been pointed out because she zoned right in on me and says, "Did you shoot my son in the head?" That day at the field was a big day. Teams were about 30v30, and if we were being honest, everybody shot everybody. It was a clusterfuck, and it was awesome. I mean, maybe. There's a lot of people out there today. But did you shoot my son in the head? She motions to a kid, maybe 13, standing about 15 feet away looking super embarrassed about the current situation. My eyes drift to the red tape on his arm and the blue tape on mine. Well, he looks like he was on the other team, and I can't very well just let him wander in the middle of my team. Okay, but why in the head? He could be hurt. The kid had goggles on and a face mask as required, but no hat, so his forehead was exposed, and I noticed he had a red welt forming on his forehead. So if it wasn't me, somebody got him. Sorry mum, I may have shot him in the head, but you signed the waiver acknowledging he could be shot. It could have been anybody else. If he gets shot in the head, then he gets shot in the head. It happens. Okay, but you still didn't have to shoot him in the head. He said specifically that was you and that gun. Yours is clearly better than his. Mine isn't a rental. If you want, I could loan him my backup. It's old, but it's a step above a rental. No, I want him not to be shot in the head. Rent him a full mask then. Sorry, but if the head is the only thing that I can see, that's where I'm going to shoot. When I said that, two of my friends looked up and started pointing at the marks on their neck and face where a bit of skin was exposed. After a bit of back and forth about renting a mask, she eventually buggered off. Next match I felt a tug on my arm, and when I turned, I saw the kid next to me, blue tape on his arm. His mum went to a ref and got him to swap teams. Kid looked at me and gave me the most sheepish sorry I've ever heard. I let him follow me around the rest of the day. Oh, these poor kids, you know, that they have to go and apologise for their parents afterwards. I mean, come on. You're going to an airsoft game, you're going to get shot. God, I seem to have a story about all these myself. It's not an entitled parents one, but I was at a paintballing thing once. And I was hiding because I was a coward behind a tree. And I saw this guy, and he was like proper shiny head bald. And he was stood behind this tree and he's on the opposite team. And that was the only thing I could shoot. And I must have shot him about 5 times. And watching these paintballs explode on the top of the head was just glorious. Entitled mum tries to steal from me when I couldn't even walk. I'm fairly new to Reddit and I'm using my iPad, so I apologise for any errors. About 2 years, I had a spinal fusion at the age of 16. I had the surgery in a children's hospital. And because it's called that, I guess people forget teenagers still go there too. So anyways, this happened about 3 days after I had surgery. For background, I was really blessed to have a room all to myself. I don't know how or why they do it, but I'm guessing it's just how serious my surgery was. Because I was going to be there for a week and had frequent nurses coming in to give me my meds. I think this entitled mum must have been stalking my room. Because she always walks in the minute after my mum leaves to go and get herself some food from the cafeteria. So I am alone. Dialogue might not be word for word accurate, because I was so drugged up. EM walks in. "Oh no, wrong room. Sorry, hun." Upon seeing the fact that I look like death. "What happened?" "Haha, it's okay. I had just had a spinal fusion. I had scoliosis." I'm so sorry if that's not how you pronounce it. I ain't got a clue what that is. I'm gonna have to Google that after. Still, not leaving. "You poor thing. You look a little old to be here though. The surgeon I really wanted is here." At this point, I'm trying to keep my responses short and simple because I just wanted to leave so I can nap. "It's cool you can have this big room all to yourself. My poor boy had to share." Me, just nodding along. Universal nod for please leave, this conversation is done. "Hey, you know, since you're older and more mature, I'm sure you'll be less stressed out with a roommate than my son. Maybe you two could switch." "Oh, I really don't think that's how it works. I'm probably going to be here for a few more days, and my mum needs a place to sleep. We live pretty far from the hospital, so my mum thought it would be easier to stay with me rather than have to constantly make the trip." EM looks confused. "My boy is having a really hard time though. Maybe you could talk to the doctor about it, see if there's any other rooms available." At this point, I'm guessing she's not saying what her son was in for, because it's most likely not as bad as mine. EM rolls her eyes. "I guess. Forgot how selfish teenagers are." She takes a step towards my bed, and at this point I'm kind of freaking out, so I reach under my blanket to grab my little button remote and hit it, the one that caused the nurse. Then this lady reaches for 2 stuffed animals right by my face and grabs them before I could even react. For some context, I know I'm too old for stuffed animals, but my uncle flew from Europe just to be there to support me through the surgery. Because he lives so far away, I probably only see him like once every 2 years. He bought these for me, so I was so happy to have something from him. "You wouldn't mind if I take these? It would make my son feel better since he can't have his own room, and you're definitely too old for them." At this point they're in her hands, and she's backing up to walk away. I just had a spinal fusion. There are 24 screws and 2 rods newly implanted in my spine. I cannot physically sit up or get out of bed. At this point, I've only gotten out of bed a few times with the assistance of 2 nurses, and I passed out one of the times. I'm literally just in my bed, watching her walk away without anything I could do. I thought about screaming for help, but didn't want to seem over dramatic over some stuffed animals. Thankfully, my Lord and Saviour nurse walks in. She sees me freaking out, flailing my arms because that's all I'm capable of, and a very guilty EM. I also recognise that a nurse because I've had her a few times throughout my stay. She knows my name and has complimented how cute the stuffed animals were, so I'm really hoping she remembers. "What's going on here? This random lady just took my stuffed animals." EM gasping and acting like she's the most shocking thing she's ever heard in her life. "Excuse me? I've seen these on her bed. Those are hers. Can you please give them back before I call security on you?" Attempting to steal from a minor who can't even walk without assistance. EM huffs and puffs and drops the stuffed animals on the floor and rushes out. Thankfully, the nurse returned my stuffed animals and waited with me until my mum got back from the cafeteria. She was shocked to learn what just happened. From then on, whenever she had to go to the cafeteria, she made sure to call a family member, and they began taking shifts to stay in with me. I really hope the entitled mum was only entitled because of the stress of the kid in the hospital, but it really seemed like she planned this out, so I'm a bit iffy. Hell, if she asked nicely and respectfully, I would have probably given her the stuffed animals. After the whole ordeal was over, I took a great nap with my awesome stuffed animals. Also, in case anyone is interested in seeing my royally fucked up spine before and after, here's the link. Edit to answer some frequently asked questions I've been getting. My spine's curvature was at 65 degrees. I grew about 1.5 inches, which is a lot because I had lost an inch from the curvature of growing so fast. The rods and screws are made of titanium, and yes, recovery is painful as hell. Oh my god. The parents just get crazier and crazier in these stories. I mean, there's one thing like stealing from a child, but then, and I know this is like a teenager, but still going into someone who can't physically get out of their bed or move or anything like that and stealing from them. I think God has left the chat room. Once again, guys, I'd just like to thank you all for being here, for supporting this channel. It's been absolutely amazing, your support. If you are new here, consider joining our Discord channel. We've got some great people in there. There's usually something going on all day, so come join us. Take care now. Goodbye.